Good morning and welcome to Recipe for Success. My name is Nancy Giacalone with Olympic Crest Insurance. And for anybody tuning in for the very first time, Recipe for Success combines my love of cooking with my love of business and personal development. Because one thing that I've learned over the years is that there's always one key ingredient or technique that is responsible to the overall success of a project. So today I'm really excited to have two very different guests on my show. I have Wellington Wonsang and Ben Saadon. Hopefully I pronounced your names correctly.
Yes.
Did I do okay? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I usually always check that before we go live. So I'm pretty happy with myself right now. And they are with a fabulous company called LifeWork Adapter. Which I'm going to let them tell you the story a little bit more as we get into it. But the whole purpose is to enable upper body limb amputees to be able to do things that they would not have been able to do otherwise. So I'm going to turn it over to the two of you to introduce yourself. Let's start with Wellington, and then we'll go on to Ben. So Wellington, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Nancy, for this opportunity to be able to share a little bit about our company, our backstory, and how we can positively impact some people and their lives. Just real brief about myself. I'm the communications director for LifeWork Adapter. Part of my job is to communicate with people like Nancy that help us to get our message out to the general public and also to get our message out to the world in general. LifeWork Adapter is an amazing passion project for both Ben and I. We're veterans. And this is a way of us giving back to those that have sacrificed so much for our country.
Awesome. Ben?
Well, my name is Ben Saadon. I'm an inventor. Started LifeWork Adapters a few years back. It has become, I guess, not my life's work, but something that's moving towards that direction. We originally designed this so our veterans could operate modern firearms. And then it evolved from there to tools, which we found had just a broader impact on a global scale.
So I'm going to start off by saying I've always been so jealous of anybody that's an inventor. It's like, how does your mind work? And then how do you take it from just an idea to actually a product? It's just something that has always fascinated me. So tell me a little bit about how that works, Ben.
It begins with a concept and then it moves directly into an idea and so on and so forth. There's actually a process, and the fastest way, I guess, to describe it is it's a spiral that moves inward towards a circle, and there are key marks in there that involve a lot of people and a lot of work. The inspiration is without a doubt the one thing that is an ever-evolving process, but the biggest problem is the financing in the business world. You can make something that you know the world needs, but is it at the right time? Have you met the right people? And have all the locks been unlocked that allows you to get to that point? That's why not everybody's an inventor. It is a process and it is hard work. But when you have something which its time has come to pass, right? Such as this, we should have had it 30 years ago. And the problem is now is that we're moving into modern electrical designs, and they are so far behind. And this is something that reaches out on a global scale. And with a new invention, this process requires people such as yourself and Wellington and John Shell and corporations. If you really want to make a difference, that's what it takes.
So have you invented and brought to market other products in the past?
Yes, ma'am, I have. I design firearms, accessories, and other small medical devices, that kind of thing. They take a little bit more time and not as much funding, but being in the medical device world now, well, that's a whole nother animal.
Absolutely. So you both mentioned that you're both veterans, and I know that this is part of where the passion for this project comes about. So Wellington, I'm going to ask you, how did you get involved with Ben, and why does this mean so much to you?
Well, how Ben and I met can be made into a movie. Not a rom-com, but a comedy.
Not When Harry Met Sally or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No, nothing like that. Well, nothing I'm willing to share in public.
Okay.
But
Right.
one of the unique things about Ben and mine's relationship is that we are very diametrically opposed. Ben is usually one of the smarter guys in the room. I'm one of the chattier guys in the room. So for he and I to get together was just, a godsend. But how Ben and I met, we actually met through LinkedIn, and I was looking for an inventor of all things. Imagine that. And I ran across Ben's profile, and immediately he and I connected. We connected on a lot of different levels, and one of the great fruits that were born from this meeting was LifeWork Adapter and where we are now. Ben is an incredible driving force and has a very fluid personality. He's the kind of person that I appreciate because we can have a conversation going this direction and his mind is, segmenting it and thinking about other things. So to me, that's the kind of person that I've always wanted to do business with and to call a real friend.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to take just a little step back in time, and let's talk. And question's going to really go to Ben since he's the inventor here. What really brought this need to your attention, and what really pulled at your heart to say, okay, this is something I need to do? Because I really believe that to be a successful inventor, there has to be some passion behind it to go through everything that you have to go through to actually bring it to market.
Okay, so in 2004, I worked as a civilian contractor in Iraq. And for a brief period of time, I worked in a burn unit and a medical center. I did maintenance there, but I was also tasked to do several other things. So I got to see it up close and personal, and what it is to be a part of that is something that stays with you forever. And you don't forget that. And when you're in that environment, you're helpless because you're there just to respond to the traumatic injuries our soldiers received. That was it. That's what I did, was just respond. I couldn't stop it. All I could do was help get them in that process of surviving. And then years down the road, I met several vets with missing arms and legs and had went through the same traumatic experience being in a wartime environment. And then I met a guy one day at a Home Depot. He had lost his arm and his leg, and we started talking, and he wanted to do an addition to his home. So that was one of the the Lego in the stack.
Right.
And then we had spoken about his willingness to hunt with his son, and that he could not really have the ability to defend himself with a modern firearm because the inability to cycle and clear malfunctions, that type of thing, the mechanics of it. So these are little Legos that are building a castle, I guess. And this domino started to fall. And then I had met Dylan at a gun range, which I had already started the process of creating a prosthetic adapter that allowed people to use a Hosmer hook, if I may show you.
Sure.
This is a simulator that I designed and built that allows someone to actually not truly understand how it is to operate a prosthetic, but it gives you an idea of what it takes to mechanically operate a prosthetic. So I built this for me to learn how to use and get an idea. And then as that process moved forward, I met more and more veterans and amputees from accidents, injuries, disease. And as I saw them struggling with just day-to-day interactions, I thought, well, really, firearms are a great addition and to allow our veterans and people who want to hunt and things like that. But you also have other applications for that adapter. And then after meeting the gentleman at Home Depot, the light went off. They need to be able to work. So then I started the process of going through all the no's. And the no's with an inventor it's another language in and of itself, because you can't do this because of this, you can't do this because of this, and you can't do this, and so on and so forth. But the yeses are profound. So we had to go back to where we began, and it's a paradigm shift in what we've designed. Instead of trying to fit the individual to the tool by giving them something that only indexes that one option in life or that one application, I would say my thought process is a paradigm shift, because we want to make sure that we have the ability to adapt whatever their environment is to that individual. And that has been the problem in the prosthetics world that we have found, or that I have found in the inherent designs that we've had previous to me.
So it seems crazy to me that we would be in 2021 and that this need has not been adequately addressed, because we see lower limb amputees with all sorts of crazy, devices that can help them do pretty much any sport, any activity. But really, there's the upper limb amputees have not had that same, well, I'm just going to call it love. And how is that possible?
Well,
The upper,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
well,
I apologize.
it's fine. So lower limb amputees have a base framework for the leg, okay, and being mobile is the most important out of all. But being able to index items, with ease, is a very, very, very complex process for the body and for your environment and the individual. We have had some advancements. It's just they haven't come to time as far as being able to truly be intuitive for the need that's being used for the user. If you want to grab something and you want to release it, you have to be able to release it instantly. That's why we have that ability. If you use a tool and you grab it with your hand and you have to release it, it has to be instantaneous, within a thousandth of a second, right? So the inherent problem is that myoelectrical arms, although they are wonderful pieces of technology, still require surgical intervention, which is very expensive, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then the arms themselves can cost from $150,000 to $500,000. And they don't have that ability as of yet. They're moving that way, but they're still 15 to 20 years away.
Gotcha.
And that is the problem. And right now, when we literally have millions on this planet missing an arm, who have to go to work to feed their children, that's not an acceptable solution. Right.
Okay, so I'm going to actually direct this question to Wellington. So what is where is the product? What stage are you at? How close is it to being come to market?
Sure.
And then what's the present hoops that you have to jump through, et cetera? Just kind of give me a state of the union.
Sure, absolutely. Just to tie that question with what Ben was talking about, there are millions of people in the world that have this scenario in their lives. In the US alone, right now, there's just north of 2.4 million amputees that are documented. Of those, 1 in 4 have some form of upper body limb amputation. So where we are in our level or in our journey is we are going into a phase where we are refining our production system. We are reaching out to the major players in the market, both on the distribution and the rehabilitation side. We are also constantly in communications with people who have extremely helpful suggestions and advice. And we're at the point now that we're patent protected. And there's a lot of issues that go into that as well that Ben's very familiar with. But we're at the point now to where we're starting to share this with those in the industry, people in the general public. And we've just talking about it, just introducing it has created so much activity, so much interest that people are waiting. And where we are now is we're that horse at the gate waiting for the gun to go off. So between having the intellectual property secured, getting our fabrication secured, starting the buzz about the brand secured, and talking with people like you on this platform, we're just waiting. The gun's about to go off, and we're all ready for the race.
That's just so exciting. So I have a question for you guys. So since I happen to work in the employee benefit space, so medical insurance, How do you think this is going to play with medical insurance? Do you see the insurance carriers covering this similar to like they would cover a wheelchair? Have you had any talks? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny that you say that, you asked that question. One of the communities that is extremely excited about this is the insurance industry, and also on a government level. So right now, when you have that kind of a disability, you're talking about a huge cost, a burden
Right.
to not only insurance companies, but also government programs. The VA pays out millions in disability. Insurance company, millions in disability for situations such as this. With the introduction of this product, not only do you give the individual an opportunity to get back into a career that maybe they love and aren't able to do, so it gives them an entry back into that. So right now, the average income of an individual is just north of $48,000. The average household income in the U.S. for 2020 was a little more than $68,000. Okay, so think of the impact that you can give the individual, the family unit, the GDP, and the tax base. So you're literally giving somebody an opportunity to maybe get a little bit less from a disability perspective, but 7 to 10 times more return in being able to go back to work.
Yeah.
So this not only satisfies a financial need, but also a personal need. It addresses PTSD issues, self-esteem issues, social interaction issues. So not only will you be able to function in a garden at home, but you'll also be able to go back to work in a construction site. You'll be able to go and interact with your family, jet skiing, spearfishing,
Spearfishing. I think that's something would be on the top of my list. But
Right.
no, that's amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Ben one more question before we actually show a little video.
Sure.
So now that I know it's not quite to market yet, but you're starting to really see how you're going to impact the amputee community, and you can really feel it. Do you think that this is an area you might want to do more work in, or what are your thoughts on that?
This is a stone that I'm going to push out of the way, not for myself, but for everyone. It just takes a little bit more effort from one person. One person can change the world in their own way. I started out, if I may step back for a moment, about 7.5 years ago, I fell down a 20-foot flight of stairs. And it went from there. It got really, really bad. And I was in a wheelchair. And I was told then that I had cancer, like 3 days later. And things got worse from there, right? And if I can go from a dining room table with a pen and paper in a wheelchair with cancer 7 years later, right, to bringing something to the world which is going to impact and change literally millions of people's lives, not just the individual with the amputation, but their children and the way they live. This brings my future into perspective for me. I'm going to move forward and make other devices. I've already started on that. This is just priming the pump to ensure that what I leave from this world, I leave it better than when I came into it.
You're going to make me cry. This is that's a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so bear with me, everyone. I am going to try and see if I can make this video happen. So never done this before. So let's see how this goes. Oh, I'm doing it. Okay, all I have to say is that is so freaking cool. I mean, seriously, that is just the coolest. I really wanted to see some spearfishing in that video, though.
Well,
I felt
we're
like that
working on that.
would have really talked to them.
I've met a lot of inventors, and I met a lot of people with amputations, and that is the resounding message I have gotten, is that they want to go back to work. They want to build with their hands, because a lot of the guys like myself, I used to be a carpenter and a cabinet maker. I can only imagine what it would be like trying to do that with only one appendage, that you could actually index a tool. Now, these tools are dangerous. They're power tools. Anyone who grabs one accepts the responsibility of using one. They're not safe to use with only one appendage indexing that tool. So what I did was I changed the tool from being an attachment to what you need to do. I made the attachment fit the tool. So you literally go.
We're frozen up. So we will take a moment for. So hopefully Ben will unfreeze momentarily. Wellington, go ahead.
Take that. Sure.
Okay, thanks.
So Ben created a way for the tool to be functional with an amputee by giving them an opportunity to engage in a fashion that you would with your normal hand. The great thing is that there's no modification to the tool other than an adapter. Coupled with the key that's on your hook, okay, you can engage it just like you would with your natural hand, operate it, and then disengage. Now, one of the things that Ben was talking about earlier was the myoelectric arm. It's a great opportunity for an amputee to use, but it moves at a pace that's much slower than the human reaction. With the hook and the LifeWork adapter together, literally, boom, you're disengaged. It's safe for you, it's safe for everybody else. But the amazing thing is that if you wanted, you can pass that very tool that you're using to somebody else on the site with you, and they don't have to take anything apart. They can just engage it normally. And it all fits within the spectrum of the use of the tool.
I have to tell you guys, this is just so cool, and it's me to see what you're doing, and I know a lot of people in the benefits community are excited to hear what you're doing too. So you'll have a lot of people supporting your efforts. So we are going to move into my favorite section of my LinkedIn Lives, and it's my 5 burning questions. Now, since I have 2 guests, you each get to answer. So are you ready?
As long as we allow Ben to go first, we're good.
Okay, so Ben is going to be the first one up. What is your favorite food in the world, and can you cook it?
Ooh, I like everything. I'm partial to Asian food and Middle Eastern food, being my family's from Israel. I guess fish dishes. I love seafood. Grew up on the coast. Yeah.
Are you a good cook?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a really good cook when I want to be.
Okay.
If I want
Okay.
to be, yeah.
Okay, so Wellington, same question to you.
Well, if I'm going to be honest with myself and everybody else, my favorite food is anything that comes out of my kitchen.
I love it. So you're a good cook then.
Yes, ma'am. If I stood up, you'd see exactly why.
So what's the dish that most people ask you to make? Because they say that you're.
Believe it or not, with my cultural mix, it's hamburgers.
Who would have thunk?
I make an amazing hamburger patty. I'm not going to share any of my ingredients, but I will tell you that it can be as popular as the LifeWork Adapter kit will be.
Okay, I can be pretty persuasive. I might test you on that. Okay, so back to Ben. So what is the one character trait you admire most in people, and why?
Their imagination.
That's a good one for an inventor.
Yeah, their imagination, because truth and untruth come and go, but people's imagination is intuitive to their.
Oh, there we go again. All right, Wellington, we're going to pass the baton.
Okay, so I'm sorry, can you ask the question again? I want to make sure I'm giving you the proper answer.
Yes. So what's the one character trait you admired most in other people and why?
Man, their ability to overcome. People sometimes think, oh, woe is me, I can't do this and I can't do that. And then all of a sudden they have to walk through that dark valley of the shadow of whatever you're going through. And somehow, some way, they find a way. And the thing is that a lot of times it's God, it's the big guy. But our perspective is that, wow, there is a way of overcoming this. And a lot of times you have to go through that in order to get to the lighter side of life. But more importantly, that journey that you go through is something that you can share with somebody else that's going through the exact same path. So the ability to overcome and then share that experience, to me, is the most amazing aspect of being human.
I love that. Okay, so Ben, we're back to you, and hopefully you will not freeze this time. If you could magically get everyone to do one thing to be more inclusive to the amputee community in general, what would it be?
Spend a day in their life.
I like that answer.
Just one day. We get about 70,000 of them in our lifetime, if we're lucky.
Well, I like that. Wellington, same question.
Wow, I hate to say it, but that's the same answer I have. But I do have one that is a little different, and that is, give them the opportunity. Let them show you that they don't need a handout; they need a hand up.
Yep.
And that's just, the human spirit is an amazing thing, and if you lock it down, there's so many things that are denied to everybody else. So give them the opportunity.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so Ben, second to last question. What is your secret talent or something people would be surprised to learn about you?
Ooh, I don't know if I have a secret talent. I'm kind of a private person. This is odd to me doing something on the internet like this. So,
Wellington.
Okay, so my secret talent is that my fingers are really weirdly jointed. But no, other than that, I have an amazing ability to look at the upside of things that people normally don't see.
true.
Okay, so last question for you both. I know Ben can take a deep breath and go back to being private, but the last question for both of you is, and I'll start with Wellington since you're on the screen. Who is the one person that you have connected with on LinkedIn, or maybe that you listen to on a podcast, that you would most like to meet in real person and share one of your fabulous hamburger patties with?
Whew. Boy, that list is impressive. I have met some great people on LinkedIn. I've been a part of the LinkedIn community 6 months into their introduction. But I have to say, one of the ones that I've not had an opportunity to meet is Ben Shapiro.
Oh, nice. Good answer. Good answer. Okay, Ben, I'm going to leave you on small because you seem to get weird when I put you on the big screen. So,
okay.
Same question to you.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I guess I'm like about a million other people's. I aspire to meet people and share a meal with them, and that would be like Richard Branson, Elon Musk.
I love it. I don't
Tesla's not here, but that's my hero.
Nice.
You know, I just if we're lucky, you know, I find that if I'm lucky, I can stand in the shadow of giants and somehow add to their greatness. I think that's really the contribution I have to give. I truly believe there are things that we're all capable of doing. We just have to look past the static and the white noise in our lives, the things that get in the way to what we're truly supposed to want and love and what we should be doing, and get past all of that. And that's how I got here, is I got rid of the white noise in my life and all the things in the clutter that we accumulate as people to make us feel better. And once you get rid of that, the clarity is there. So I think that's where Tesla and Elon Musk and Richard Branson, I think that's one of the reasons why I'd like to sit down and share a meal with them, because the clarity would be there.
I love it. Okay, gentlemen, so we have made it to the end. You survived, Ben.
Oh, I'm fine.
So, is there any, I want to always close out with, how do people learn more about the LifeWork Adapter? And if they need to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Sure. So we have a website that you can visit. We have video links that are there and that are coming. So you can always visit us at www.lifeworkadapter.com. And on there, we have contact information for myself and the organization, and also LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a fabulous way to reach out to us. And you want to find out more about us, give me a call.
Awesome. Well, I thank you both so much for coming on today and sharing your story about what you're doing. I know that both myself and many of my colleagues would be very happy to support you in any way that we can. So please keep us updated on the status and let us know when this is going to be available to market so that we can help spread the word as well.
We'll
Yes,
be
ma'am.
talking to you again. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
both. And to everyone out there, make it a great day.
You too. Thank you.